thank you for tuning in. It's time for another amazing guest show on Eternal Affairs Truth Radio. Please consider supporting our work at our website, eternalaffairsmedia.com. Sit back and relax and enjoy the show. Please subscribe and keep coming back. You're going to know God did it.
All right, cool. God did it. We're here with an amazing guest today. I'm Curtis Ray with EA Truth Radio, brought to you by EternalAffairsMedia.com. Online for 16 years, faithfully publishing the truth, powered by the truth since 2010. Yeah, I'm the producer and publisher. I'm stepping in for our host, Zak, today. We lift up a prayer to our Heavenly Father for Brother Zak, because he's under the weather, and we pray you get well really soon, Zak. We're pulling for you, man. We pray for you. Heavenly Father, please give him the health, and by your stripes in Jesus' name that Zak has, victory over what he's struggling with. So we have an exciting show today with Rodney Thompson of Blackwater Outdoor Journeys. He specializes in everything related to the outdoors. So not strictly survival as we were discussing, but definitely will help in relation to survival. Knows a lot more about the outdoors than I do. So, he can teach you all about hunting and fishing and probably all sorts of things that I know nothing about. So, we'll dig into all that and everything. And, he's got a school and the school ecosystem. School is a platform by Alex Hermosi. I got one there also called Man Life Brotherhood that he is in. And he's one of our brothers there. His school is Camping Wilderness School. And I'm in his also, learning a lot about what he has to share. And, so hit the subscribe, like, and share, everyone. And welcome to the show, Rodney. It's a pleasure to have you here today, brother.
Thank you, Curtis. I'm glad to be here. I'm looking forward to it and seeing and just sharing some information with everybody. So let's get it going.
Cool deal, man. Yeah, we're excited to get going. I'm happy to have you here, man. I admit I don't know a lot about this outdoor stuff as much as you do. So you want to fill us in for starters, maybe a little bit about who you are and what you do in this outdoor type stuff?
Yes, sir. I'll give you a little bit of my background. I'm born and raised in South Georgia. I live about a mile from the house that I was raised up in. We live in a very rural country area. So we're really known for the Okefenokee Swamp. It borders right up to us. It's probably 10 miles down the road from us and all. It's the largest swamp east of the Mississippi, 400 square miles of just swamp and alligator infested waters and all that kind of good stuff. And we spend a lot of time out there camping and canoeing and just having a good time in the swamp. So really enjoy that part of it.
Ooh. You live on quite a big property then. How big did you say your property is?
We've got 8 acres here that we live on. Me and my wife and grandkids and daughter and all live here.
How many acres?
8 acres. Yep, we live on 8 acres.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. No, the Okefenokee Swamp is what I was saying. There's like 400 square miles.
That's cool.
So
yeah.
Yes, sir. But so I got started in. I'll just give you a little background if you want me to. If you want me, I'll give you a little background on what started Blackwater.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, tell me.
So, it really started in my mind a year ago. This June will be a year ago that I started the YouTube channel, and it really started 5 years, almost 6 years ago now. My son passed away in 2020 from a fentanyl overdose, and that hit me pretty hard. I've known God my whole life, but I really found God that week that he passed away on me and all, and it brought a different light to me. And then 2 years ago, our house burned down, and everything that I had left of my son, I lost it in the house fire. And so coming from losing my son, I've got another son, and I've got 2 daughters, and I've got 4 grandkids. And coming from that, rebuilding the house, we're in a new house and all that now. We're thankful for that. Everything turned out really good after that and all, but it got me to thinking that I didn't have all I had was memories of my son, memories of my daughters and my other son. and daughter growing up, and I didn't want to leave with nothing but just memories. So that's why I started the channel, was to capture the moments that I missed whenever, the kids was growing up and all. So that's really the reason I started the channel, was to do to capture those moments where they would have them going forward, if something was to happen to me, and where I could use it to go back on too. So I started the channel for that, but then when I started putting the videos out there, people really started talking about, dropping comments about, they're not able to get out there and do the camping, or they don't know about camping like you, or they don't know about the outdoors and stuff like that. So that really got me thinking about the school platform and how do I teach people, and I'll share in a different type of way with these people and all that. So that's why I started the school community, and it's doing very well in my mind. The school community, got almost 200 members. I've got a little over 10,000 subscribers on YouTube in less than a year. So I'm very blessed with that. And me and the wife, and sometimes the grandson, one of them will go with us. We go out and we have a good time, just out, camping and canoeing and having adventures and all. So I figure I'd take that and then turn it into the school and help people that don't know how to get out there or go, or haven't been out there in years and all that kind of stuff. So that's where I'm at now, and what we're doing, and why I'm doing what I'm doing, and all. So, and the one thing that I get a comment on a lot, I get a comment a lot on my YouTube channel, is that I had a guy share that you don't see a lot of people pray on their YouTube videos, and me and the wife, every time, it's just natural to us. When we go to eat, we say the blessing, we say a prayer before we eat and all that. And I've put those in my YouTube videos, not on purpose at first, but when the guy told me that in the comment, it got me to thinking, if I've got 10,000 people watching me, or 500 people watching me, and they see me pray and it brings them closer to God, then I've done a good thing in my mind. So we're going to keep putting in prayers in our videos, and keep sharing them that way. So it may be the only time anybody ever hears anything, about God or anything like that. So that's, and I pray every morning that God just keeps guiding me on the way that He wants me to go with this channel and this school. And I think this is just this interview today is just another avenue to get the word out there to different people. That God's real, and He answers our prayers. And also, that's where I'm at with that.
Man, I'm really sorry to hear about your son. That's a touching story about how you started things because of your son. I really apologize. I'm sorry to hear that. Offending was a very serious topic. How old was he? I'm just curious.
He was 24 years old, and I tell you that, and I will say this here, and I've told a lot of people this here. That was the best week of my life. If you can understand what I'm saying there, it was the worst week of my life because I lost my son. But God did things and showed me things that week that there's no other answers to it than besides it being God. And I know that it was. I had questions, all that stuff that goes on whenever you lose someone and all that. But He answered every one of those questions for me, and I could lay them out to you. Boom, 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 boom. The questions and the things that He showed me that week. That showed me that God is real. And like I say, it was the best week of my life, if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah, God has a weird way of using the negative, bad things in life to turn them around for good, and He'll use everything for our good and His glory, man.
Ain't no doubt.
For sure.
We miss our son like crazy. I talk to him all the time, and I know he's here with me and all that. So he goes on these canoe trips with me and camping trips with me, and it's
what kind of things did you do with your son?
We did the
what kind of things did you do with your son outdoors that you teach these days?
The normal stuff that we do, down here, normal for us is hunting, fishing, camping, just everything outdoors that you could think about. That's what we did whenever the kids was growing up. We've turned boats over. We've swam through the river in the middle of the night and walk in pitch black dark. I mean, there's all kind of different stories that we had whenever he was growing up and his sister was growing up, and his brothers and sisters and all that. So there's just all kind of different, outdoor adventures, that we would go on and do. So it was a lot of them. And then
now you have the opportunity to have many sons.
Oh yeah, ain't no doubt.
Now you have the opportunity to teach the many. You can teach the many. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the reason I'm doing it, is to teach them what I taught my kids, and what I've learned. I've learned a lot, through this also. So I think you learn if you're not learning all the time, then something's wrong with you. I think we can learn something every day in life, and we just got to make sure that we do it and apply it. So that's just the way I feel. We're always learning. If you're not, then you're in a bad place. If you think that you know everything. So,
gotcha. So, in general, like, how long have you been really doing all the outdoor stuff? All your life, or what?
All my life, I've been doing. I camped when I was a kid. My parents took me camping when I was a kid. We'd spend summers in the Smoky Mountains camping in a tent. Me and my 3 brothers and my mom and dad. And then here we grew up on the river. The river is, there's not much to do in a small town with one caution light. And we just got a Dollar General about 4 years ago. So that tells you how small we are. So. There's nothing really to do here but to go outdoors. So everything was outdoors, It was hunting, fishing, spending time at the river, different things like that. So yes, sir. Grew up doing it and continue to do it.
That's cool. That's cool.
I think that we're blessed that we live in the area that we do live in, and all. So, I tell
That's
you,
cool. Just curious. I don't know if I caught. What state do you live in?
Georgia. We live in Georgia, right on the Florida line.
Okay, gotcha.
So South Georgia.
Okay.
If you're thinking about Jacksonville, Florida, if you know where that's at, we're about 45 miles northwest of Jacksonville is where we are.
Gotcha.
So the southernmost town in Georgia. Yep.
Gotcha. Cool deal, man. Yes, yeah. But you definitely know more about the outdoors than I do. You want to share maybe some tips about things to do outdoors and stuff? I know you say it's strictly survival. You just specialize in outdoors in general. But a lot of people like me, we don't know as much. Like, it's really a survivalist type thing to us. So we think like, it's it really helps us. It helps people in survival situations. I mean, like, for example, like if somebody was like out in the wilderness, like, and they found themselves in a situation, I mean, give us some scenarios and like some advice maybe that things you would do and stuff like that maybe.
So yeah, I can give you a couple. So the main thing to fear probably, or that people are scared of outdoors, is animals. And in our area we have down here, and we have black bear. People are naturally scared of black bear. People are scared of alligators, snakes, and stuff like that. And probably, to me, snakes are probably the most dangerous thing in the outdoors. Is coming upon a snake. We have rattlesnakes, we have cottonmouths and stuff like that. And a bear is probably, unless the bear has a cub and you get between the mother and the cub, a bear's probably going to run away from you. An alligator's going to go under and leave you alone. Like I said, the Okefenokee Swamp has probably, they estimate anywhere from 15 to 20,000 alligators in it. It's been a national wildlife refuge since the 1930s. There's been 0 alligator attacks in it, and it has over 600,000 visitors a year. So that tells you that an alligator is more than likely not going to attack you. So they're really nothing to be scared of. A snake, on the other hand, you're not going to hear a snake unless it's a rattlesnake. When you hear him, it's probably too late. Or if it's a cottonmouth, you're not going to hear him at all. So, and when a snake bites you, the venom, is you just got a limited amount of time to get to a doctor, get to an emergency room, and all that kind of good stuff. So, to me, if there's a fear of anything outdoors, it should be very cautious with the snakes. and stuff like that. So that, and then the next thing is weather, and down here where we live at, weather is pretty.
Yeah. What do you do if you're bit by a snake? What would you do? Like if you're bit by a snake, what should be the first thing somebody does?
The first thing you should do,
like if somebody bit,
they say put a tourniquet on it, right, if it's on your leg or something like that, put a good tourniquet on it. But again, you don't want to put the tourniquet too tight, because then you'll cut off, all circulations to that part of your body or whatever. So you've got to get the tourniquet on it, and then you've got to get to an ambulance or something very quick, like, that's if not, you're in a bad situation with that. So you've got limited amount of time once you get bit by a snake, rattlesnake or moccasin, those types.
So you're not like into like sucking out the venom and like nothing like that, spitting it out. That's all sorts of crazy stories about doing.
That's not. Yeah, I've
like
done
that.
A lot of research on that, and that's not. You would pull very little venom out if you've done that. You see it on the movie where they slice it open and suck the venom out. That's made for the movies. That's not in reality something that you should try to do. Get it tourniquet off, get it raised up, and then get to the hospital as soon as you can.
So what about hunting? Like I'm really big in hunting. Like what are some hunting tips maybe for hunters or somebody that is in a situation where they really just need to get some meat for their family? Like what do you suggest tips as far as hunting?
Hunting boils down to a couple things. Wind, if you're deer hunting, and that's what we mainly do is whitetail deer hunting. Wind, you got to make sure that the wind's in your favor. Their noses are on high alert at all time. Wind, movement, got to make sure you're concealed very well. And then, you've got to make sure you get between and know their patterns, what they're eating, where they're traveling at, and all that kind of good stuff. But to me, wind is the biggest advantage or disadvantage. If you're hunting upwind or downwind, them deer can smell you from a ways off and they won't come in. So, and there's a lot of things that you can do to help with that there. But the main thing is make sure it's the wind direction is in your favor.
Have you ever hunted with a bow and arrow? Have you ever done anything like that?
I've hunted with a crossbow. I've never killed a deer with a crossbow. You've got
with like a crossbow or something like that.
Yeah, crossbow or a compound bow. I've done it before in the past, but I've never been successful with it. You've got to be really, really. I've got some friends that do it, and they really enjoy it. And you're an elite hunter if you're good enough to get a deer within 15, 20 yards and kill it with a bow. That takes an elite hunter to do stuff like that there. And I like to reach out there with them with my rifle, so I ain't got to wait on them. So, yes, sir. My wife Tina.
I used to love fishing when I was younger. We'd go out camping by the lake. Yeah.
Yes, sir. That's what I was fixing.
I was never much of a hunter myself. My dad was always into hunting and fishing, but he taught me how to fish.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say my wife Tina, she loves to go hunting with me. Well, I don't know if she loves it. She goes hunting with me, but she loves to go fishing. If she could go fishing, she'll just sit there with a pole, and we really enjoy the fishing. There's different type. We go catfishing is what we do mainly. Catfishing, or either we go for red breast, throwing a beetle spin, catching those. It's mainly freshwater fishing. We don't ever do any saltwater fishing. It's all freshwater fishing. So pretty light tackle. Anybody can do it with a $40 Zubco 33 from Walmart. You can go out and catch a good fish and all that there. So yes, sir.
Gotcha. So what tips do you have for fishing? What makes a good fisherman? Maybe my dad would be listening and he'll get some tips from me. I'd probably like to hear some things related. He always goes to the bass, like these tournaments. He'll go away for the weekend for tournaments, bass tournaments.
Yes, sir.
And stuff. Like, what would you suggest in something like that?
For me, I'm not a bass fisherman at all. I've never even tried to catch a bass. I've got a lot of friends that do, and I'm learning a lot from some of them, at my work. And they're always fishing these bass tournaments like you're talking about. They do the pre-fishing and all that kind of stuff. And it just comes down to, for them, it comes down to what lure it is. But again, I'm going to talk about wind. You don't realize how much wind has an effect on, not only like I was talking about, deer hunting, but wind has an effect on fishing and stuff like that too. And then where we're at, you really don't get tidal water, but we do get some tide. Our tide does fluctuate a little bit in our river. And if that tide turns or something like that, that will make a big difference whether the fish are going to bite or not. So the tide, and then it's usually just what season it is. You want to fish around the full moons whenever they're going on the bed and all that kind of stuff, because they bed based off the moon, the different species of fish and all. So if you can fish, they normally say fish 3 days before or 3 days after the full moon is always a good time to fish, and normally it plays out that way also. So
interesting.
It's funny the way the moon phases play into fishing, and they also play into whenever you go into the hunting and all. You'll see a lot more. You'll see a lot more deer depending on what phase the moon is
in the
at.
Prophecy.
Yeah, ain't no doubt it plays right into it, and also a lot. Nature is all balanced around that there, around the moon and all that, and it's very, very interesting the way that nature knows. It doesn't have a clock like we do, but it has an internal clock, and it knows the things. That's when's feeding time and when's what phase the moon's in and all that kind of good stuff. So it's all interesting when you go digging into it like that. Very interesting.
Yeah. Do you also do any gardening or farming? Like, you got anything where you can teach us in regards to like gardening and farming? Do you do stuff like that?
I normally grow a garden every year. This year we are in extreme drought. This year where I'm at, we're like 25 to 30 inches below normal rainfall this time of year. So I did not plant a garden this year, but normally we plant a little small garden, tomatoes, cucumbers, squash, watermelons, corn, peas, stuff like that. So it again, you plant based on the moon. We plant based on the moon cycles, depending on when the moon is and all that, we plant based on that. And then you can try to water it and it'll do pretty good. It'll do okay. But with as dry as it is right now, I didn't even plant a garden this year. So have to go to the farmer's market this year to get it. And normally we can foods and all that there. We'll
I try to grow a couple things out on my apartment porch sometimes. It doesn't ever work out usually. I'm not too good at it. But one year I grew some cayenne peppers. They turned out pretty good. But for the most part, I just am not as good at it as my stepdad was good with the outdoors. He worked for the like a parks department and was always climbing trees and a tree trimmer and stuff. My grandpa, he did the watermelons, tomatoes, and all that. He was always out gardening and everything. So, So I learned a little bit, but that's pretty cool, man. Yeah, the wind does definitely, I'm sure, play a huge role in things. And the phases of the moon, like the phases of the moon, plays a role in everything in our world. Like even prophetically, what's going on? God speaks to us through the moons and the stars.
Ain't no doubt. It's
bring us on to the topic of God again. Like, I really want to talk more about your testimony too, and God. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Like, you follow the almanac and stuff too, like the almanac.
I do. I don't follow it precisely, but I'll look at it whenever and see when the planting days are.
Tell me about your testimony and God. Like, God is like huge in our platform and motto. Yeah.
So just I don't know
kind
if
of a lag. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I reckon just my testimony on that there is, I was raised up, going to church and stuff like that, and then we drift away from that as we get teenagers, and then we get into young adult life and all that kind of stuff. my grandfather was a preacher for years, and I can just remember him, some of the things that he told me, and me and my wife actually was just talking about this the other day. I'm not one that goes to church every Sunday. And I don't know how people feel about that or whatever, but and my thing is, whenever we discuss God, me and my wife, or me and somebody else, to me, that's a church to me. Whenever we're discussing, the fellowship with God and all that there, and we're seeing what He's doing in our lives and all, and really, truly, like I said, whenever losing my son really made the true difference in my life. Whenever I lost my son, and I'll just tell you the story. Whenever I lost him, you get angry. You're angry at God. You're angry at your son. And I was angry at my son. And then me and God went around. I got on my tractor and I drove my tractor around in circles out there in my field for hours and hours, hollering at God, hollering at Lance, hollering at, just back and forth and all. And when I got off the tractor, I felt a little bit better. But I had questions for God still. And I asked Him, there was a couple things that I could not remember. I couldn't remember Lance's childhood whenever, that so dramatic happens at you. I couldn't remember his childhood. I just couldn't remember anything. And whenever I built his coffin, me and my brothers and one of my friends, we went. My friends got a sawmill. We sawed the boards up. We brought the boards here to my house, and me and my brothers and my friends and my dad, we built my son's coffin and all. And we was out there working on the coffin, building the coffin. And a friend of ours pulled up, and he was like, "Mr. Rodney, can I talk to you for a minute?" I'm like, "Yes, sir." He's like, "I need you to come talk to my niece." He said, "I know this is probably not a good time, but I need you to come talk to my niece." I'm like, "Okay." He's like, she's strung out on drugs, and I think that it would be good to go talk to her. I was like, "Okay, I'll go." So I left, packed up. Me and my wife got in the car, and we drove, and we went to the house. The friends lived in the house that I owned and that Lance grew up in. And I went up there, and time I opened that door, every one of his childhood memories come running back to me, And to me, that was God answering me on, I couldn't remember anything. So He brought me up there back to my house and opened the door, and all the memories come flooding back to me. So we had that there with that girl, had a good conversation with that girl, and she's doing very good today. Whether that was it, whether that was a part of it, but I feel like that's a part of where she is at today is because of that impact that it had on her. So we come back home and everybody's here and all that kind of good stuff. And then we had the funeral. I actually got up and spoke I basically did the funeral, and told the story of Lance and told the story of that week and all that kind of good stuff. And my youngest brother, he was here at the house, and he was the last person left. And he said, and I asked him, I said, "It's been fine this week because everybody's been here and there's been there's been a lot of distractions and all. I don't know what I'm going to do whenever everybody's gone and it's just me and my wife here, me and Tina here." My brother left. I walked out to my truck to get my can of dip, and I had my phone in my pocket, Curtis. And I reached in my truck to grab my phone, and my phone started playing a song. And so I reached in my pocket, and I hadn't had not Spotify, but and I hadn't had no music playing that week or anything. I hadn't had no apps open, to play music and that song started playing on my phone. I pulled the song out and I went to turn it off, and I started listening to the song. And I don't know if you've ever heard the song or never heard of the artist Sturgill Simpson. Have you heard of Sturgill Simpson, the artist?
I'm not sure.
So he sings a song called "All Around You" by Sturgill Simpson, and I was into Sturgill Simpson, but I had never heard that song until that day, and I started listening to that song, and I just started bawling because the song was telling me. The song says that when I'm gone, I'm not really gone. I'm still all around you. And to me, I'm getting chill bumps right now. I come running in the house and I had to tell Tina, my wife, to listen to this song, listen to that song. And to me, that was God answering me on what was I going to do when everybody else was gone. So when I said earlier that it was the best week of my life, that's what I meant, because it was the worst week because I lost my son, but it was the best week because I found God, and I've become much closer to God than I am now. I'm not as close to God as I want to be still, because I think we can get closer every day and all that. But that, and there was 3 or 4 other things that happened that week that just was unbelievable. So maybe that's my testimonial. Never really had anybody ask me to give my testimonial, but maybe that's my testimonial, for that. But
so that's a touching story, man, for sure. So kind of losing your son has led you to Christ a lot deeper. He really
ain't no doubt.
Losing your son really led you to get on your knees before the Lord, I assume, I guess.
Oh, yes, sir. Ain't no doubt. Yes, sir. Yeah, got on my knees that week.
Yeah, it didn't do that. When you go through struggles and hardships in life, it will to bring you to your knees. You get close to God. He's with us in our infirmity.
And you could go 2 ways that week. I mean, I could have went I drank my whole life. I drank since I was 14, 15 years old. And it could have went 2 ways that week. There's not many marriages that you think about that survive losing a kid and then 3 years later a house burning down or nothing like that. But me and my wife are closer now than we've probably ever been. I would say that we're closer now to each other and to God and to our other kids also. That having them around, because it's not, Lance is gone, but they're still here. So we got to make sure that you know what I'm saying, that we recognize them and do and treat them and all that kind of good stuff. So and then the grandkids and then the grandkids come along, and that's just a whole nother story, that just brightens your life up and all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, that week brought me closer to God for sure, and still trying to get closer every day. So
amen, man. Amen. Yeah, it will. When you go through a lot in life, I can only imagine having your house burn after you lose your son, man. That's awful. I'm sorry you had to go through that. It will make you strong, man. It will make you a lot stronger, and make you stronger in the Lord. It leads you to your knees, and he'll build you up. When you're down to nothing, your guy's up to something, he'll move you. End that up to something, he'll build you up. There's one way up, man. Yep.
No,
what's next in your chapter, man?
My next in my chapter is, just that's on. One day, this YouTube channel is going to be one of the biggest outdoor YouTube channels there is. That's my goal, and that's where I'm going to get to.
That's the way to look at it, man. That's the way to look at it. Yeah.
I'm speaking it in Jesus' name, and I know when you speak something in Jesus' name, it's going to happen. And I pray to him every day that if this is his direction.
Yeah, you got 200. Did you say you got 200 in the school now?
Yeah, close to 200, 170, 180, something like that. So almost 200 in the school now. And again, that's going to
fall growing pretty rapidly, because just like a couple months ago, I was 100. So
yeah. So it's going. I've only been doing it since November. So 7 months, 6 months. So it's pretty good. So it's growing too, and that's really the side step of my YouTube channel. Really and truly, I think that I can reach more people through the YouTube channel and all that. And like I said, one day it will be at the top of the outdoor YouTube channels. So,
and you just teach people all about outdoor, right? I mean, just anything related to outdoors, all the stuff we discussed as far as hunting, fishing, what other kind of things you teach on there?
Inside of my school, I've got, so far, there's 4 courses that's been released inside of the school. One of them is a camping playbook. One of them is a canoe playbook. One of them is outdoor cooking. One of them is a navigation. So inside of those courses, there's probably 10 to 12 modules in each one of those courses right now that'll teach. If you do those modules, there's nothing in those 4 realms, canoe, camping, navigation, or outdoor cooking, that you'll learn everything that you need to know in the outdoors from those 4 courses and all. Each course has about 15 modules in it. Each module has its own video that goes into great detail and all that. And I've got plans. There's 11 more courses that's planned, and they're being released on Mondays. Every Monday I release a new course. So we're going to teach bushcraft. We're going to teach wilderness, first aid and all that. That's a big course in there. And then just in-depth navigation, more in-depth navigation, more in-depth. I forget what they are right now on the top of my head. I could look it up, but that's, there's a lot of them.
Good.
I'm trying to pull it up now to see. I can't remember all the ones that I've got to be released in the future, but there's plenty of them.
Yeah, everyone like and subscribe and everything. Go to the links will be in the description. BlackwaterOutdoorJourneys.com is his website. BlackwaterOutdoorJourneys.com, and he's got all outdoor wilderness skills at campingwildernessskills.com. So yeah, all the links will be in the description. Like and comment and share, everyone. Yeah, what were you saying again, Rodney? That you were looking up? What did you want to say?
Yeah, and inside of my school, there's a complete.
Leave us with before we end the show.
Yeah, I was just going to say, inside of my school, to be released is there's a complete hunter's masterclass. There's a complete fisherman's masterclass. There's a field to freezer, tells you everything you need to know to once you get the game, how to preserve it and all that. There's a family expedition one, teaches you everything how to take your family out into the wilderness. There's a weather expedition that teaches you everything you're going to need to know about weather, outdoors, and all that. There's a first responder one. And then again, there's a traditional woodsman. So there's a lot of courses still to be released. A lot of courses already released with a lot of modules there. So there's a lot of good content in there that will teach you everything you need to know to be able to survive or thrive in the outdoors.
Cool. Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. Exciting stuff, man. Any tips that you would leave us with before we go, as far as I'm curious, I know you're not, a lot of this relates to survival, and you know more about surviving than I do, obviously. What do you suggest about coyotes? If somebody runs into a coyote in the woods or something, what do you do?
Coyote is going to, again, I don't think a coyote, the animals are more scared of you than you are them in reality. A coyote is not going to attack you unless he's rabid or something like that, with rabies or whatever. A coyote is never going to attack anyone in my mind. Now, you get to the extreme. You get to the extreme where if it's starving or something like that, or it's injured, that may be a different play. But on the everyday thing, a coyote is not going to attack you. Now, if you're out west or whatever, and where those wolves are, the wolves is probably a different story, or the mountain lions. I was reading something recently where a woman got attacked by a mountain lion. I think it was in Colorado and all that. So I would be way more scared of mountain lions or something like that than a coyote. Wow. A coyote to me is.
I was just curious because we got coyotes around the Midwest here where I'm at. There's coyotes.
The coyotes now. The thing with the coyotes,
cool. They won't attack.
The thing with a coyote is they will take your pets though. If you've got small dogs or cats or whatever, they will take your pets. So they're not a pet to them. So. If you've got coyotes in your neighborhood or whatever, and you've got a small dog, I wouldn't let him out on its own, because they will attack the dogs and take the dogs off and all that. So we've had that happen here a couple times at my house where the coyotes around here, our dogs go missing, or they get in the chicken coop, tear into the chicken coop and kill all your chickens and all that. But never something.
That's sad because I love my animals, man. I love pets.
Yeah.
I love pets. It always hurts when you lose a pet.
Yeah. So, but
what about the desert? What about what would you do if you how do you survive in the desert?
That I don't know. I've never been in the desert, so I don't. It's probably a little different than the swamps. It's a little different than the swamps and all that kind of stuff. So I did visit Arizona last year, and I wouldn't want to live out there in the desert. So,
run into any alligators in the swamp?
All the time.
Yes, sir. Oh, gotcha. Have you run into alligators yourself in the swamp, like alligators or anything? What do you do? Like, have they tried to attack you or anything?
No, sir. They will go under. We've had a couple scary incidents with alligators, but again, they normally go under, and you don't see them. It's black water down here, so you don't see them when they go under. 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, me and my wife had our scariest moment in the canoe with alligators because of this drought we're in. We're going down a long canal inside the Okefenokee, and there's probably, 50 to 100 alligators that's in this 200-yard stretch, all on the banks and all. And as we're going in there, they all start coming into the water. My wife's up front filming it, and as she's filming it, literally she could reach out and touch them. They was right there. They're going under the canoe. They're hitting the bottom of the canoe. The canoe is shaking, and it was the scariest I've ever been outdoors in a canoe or anything like that. So it was pretty frightening. But when we got through it, she's like, "That didn't scare you at all." And I didn't want to show my fear because I didn't want to upset her and scare her even more. But I was scared. I was scared going through that, and also that was a pretty. I don't know if they'd have turned us over, they probably would have killed us. I don't know what would have happened to us, but I'm glad that I didn't have to find out because there was a lot of gators. And when I say gators, there was 8, 10, 11-foot gators in there, and there was 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 of them right there around us and all that there. So that video will be coming out May the 14th. Wow. So the week of May the 14th. So putting it together now, it should be a very good video, I hope.
Gotcha.
I did drop
I'll be saying my prayers for sure, man.
Yeah. So
I did drop
that video on TikTok and all that kind of stuff, and it's got like 25,000 views on it so far. So it's a pretty good video.
Okay, cool. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So check that out, everyone, for sure. Well, what's the name of your brands on like TikTok and YouTube and stuff?
It's all Blackwater Outdoor Journeys. It's the same brand. I use the same name all the way across that. You go to that, you can see the video.
Outdoor Journey. Okay.
Yeah, you can see the video she filmed going through. Okay. I just did a little small clip of it, but the full feature documentary will come out on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a pretty scary experience, and coming back out, we didn't experience that night. Whenever we're camping, I go out and shine the flashlight, and there's 32 sets of eyes right there around us, where they're just right there. We're camping on a platform, and they're just all around the platform right there, where throughout the night. So it was pretty scary, pretty spooky.
Yeah, I don't know about that, man. I don't know if I could do that or not. I'd definitely be saying my.
Oh yeah, we were saying some prayers and a little cuss words too, going through there. So it was a pretty intense moment for us there. It was pretty intense. Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. But, all righty, man. Hey, well, I appreciate everybody for joining you, being our guest today, man. I pray everybody will visit his website at campingwildernessskills.com, as well as Blackwater Outdoor Journeys at blackwateroutdoorjourneys.com. All the links will be in the description and everything. You can check him out, as he said, on YouTube and TikTok, all across socials and everything. And his school that I'm a part of, we're both on school together. He's in my school, also Men Life Brotherhood. Rodney's a part of. I'm grateful that you're part of the brotherhood, man. I appreciate you so much. And
Yep,
His
I
is
really
Camp in the
enjoy it.
Wilderness School. So yeah, man.
So
So
I
yeah,
thank you,
get on
Curtis.
over there, everyone. The links will be in the description and everything. God bless you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any final words, anything you want to say before we end things?
I always end with where the map ends, the wild begins. Stay rugged, guys. So thank you, Curtis.
Gotcha, man.
All right. You
Yeah,
have a good one. Thank
absolutely.
you.
That's your slogan, man. Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
cool
is.
deal, man. All right, well, thank you for joining us, everyone. God bless everyone. Subscribe, like, and share, and visit him. Visit us online at eternalaffairsmedia.com. We'll have things up about Rodney on there very shortly, as far as we'll may throw some articles up as well as this stream and things. Sorry if there's been a little technical glitch in here and there. We did have some lagging and buffering and things. So, but appreciate everyone. God bless everyone. And have a